Mission 3, Shopping Shuttle. Welcome to Pancreas International. Because of the busy bank holiday weekend, an extra service has been put into operation which you'll be driving. Head towards the cab to get started. So hey there, Drawyah here, and welcome back to Southern Games Transmod to Southeastern High Speed. Back in the Class 25 again, back in the Javelin. Today taking a run, well, on an extra service to help cope with the busy bank holiday traffic. So set train up, prepare ourselves for departure and get ourselves onto the route shortly. So master key on, to reverse it into the neutral position. Make sure that the systems are all active and cleared. Unlock the doors. Set the lights to day. Press the control button for 2 seconds. Sets the channel tunnel running line up. Close the circuit breaker. Room powers the train. And there we go, that's just fine. So like I say, currently at Pancras International, preparing ourselves for a high-speed departure in just a couple of moments. The train running as far as Ebbsfleet International. That's we can actually get that from the journey system here on the left. So we're running, so we're PIS code 20030, travelling to Ebbsfleet International from Pancras International, and it's this system here that you actually get the in-cab train announcements. Not fully functional with trains at this stage, but the system's all there, and this is where it'll be running through. So I'll put it back into the driver menu as we get ourselves ready for departure in just a couple of seconds. So we'll close all the doors, set the R8 off, and let's get this train going, shall we? So now departing on the itinerary. Stop going too fast. So yeah, power cables up. And you're only a 6 class at the moment. Next station, Chatham International. We arrive there in about 6 minutes. So again, slow departure out the station, around 40 km per hour. As we enter the tunnel, things quickly increase to 225, and then this time we will be stopping at Stratford, so we won't be passing through at high speed. We're in extra service, running on time, and therefore doing something for the stops. We'll turn the desk light on, so you guys have something to look at when in the tunnels. But for the most part, it's a pretty simple journey. This nothing too much out of the ordinary. Go. Went a bit too fast there. That's the train automation system taking something a bit too fast. So, like what we had in LG Mediterranean, train going a bit too fast, you get a couple of seconds of warning where the train will beep at you for going too fast. If you respond quickly enough, then it won't do anything. If you basically ignore it the entire time, then it'll throw the emergency brakes into action. So, obviously there, driver concentration not quite up to scratch. We'll set the train up to speed now, up to 200 km per hour, up to 225 for about 30 seconds, as the jump to 225 is just on the entry points into Stratford International itself. So jump to 225 for flashing, as it tells you to reduce speeds to 200 again, then 4 steps down, stop at the station, and prepare ourselves for the passenger boarding and disembarkation. So far so good from our train so far. Landing high speed nice and well. And also running at solid 60 FPS. That's done a fantastic job of optimization with this scenario. It's a detailed train, a lot of things going on here system wise. And it all works superb. So you can see it jumps up to 225 now. Then starts flashing. We'll hold it at 200. there's no point for us really accelerating at this point if we're just going to slow down anyway, immediately. Just over 2.5 miles to go now, another 3 or so minutes to get to Stratford International. 200 flashing, down to 160. Flashing down to 130. Down to 100 even, so continue on the slow down here. You'll now spot the lights in a couple of moments. That'll be the exit portal over under Stratford International even. The mainline station, while connected to the main station complex, but a little bit away from the rest of Stratford. So Stratford, you also get the London Underground Central Line. You get connections to the DLR, Dockside Railway. You get connection to a couple of mainline services, so Greater Anglia, Stansted Express, London Overground. And that's over in another cutting just to the south of this station's location. So like I say, we're a bit away from the main Stratford International Station Complex, but still very much part of the interchange zone. As this cutting, you only get the high-speed trains, the HS1, and you also get the Eurostar trains, which cut right through. So trains that don't stop here. Trains are red. So signal's down to 0 now. Spot the next one is red. We'll reduce speed, stop at the stop marker, allow passengers to embark, and then wait for the signals to change before giving our departure clearance to Ebbsfleet. Plenty of time, about a minute early, so we can just crawl up to the stop marker. There it is. 6 car trains. Stop out here. Let's have a look around, shall we? As you've not stopped us to Stratford yet in these scenarios. It's a very detailed station. A lot of work has gone into creating this one, let me tell you. And I've been through Stratford, like I say. It looks just like this. Even the interior fittings, got your staircase up for those who don't take a lift. It's all built, painstakingly created. I think it's fantastic, seriously. A round of applause stuff out here. They've done a fantastic job with this. Got a train departing to Pancras shortly. Departing at 9:35. It's actually been stuck here for a couple of minutes by those things. 9:08. In our case, our train departs at 9:09, platform 3, train 9:08, so we'll be departing on time. Just in case we're watching the signal change. My guess, there's a high-speed service in the tunnel right now behind us. To overtake us before we get our clearance to depart, but time will tell, scenario will tell us what's going to happen. We've got about 45 seconds to departure. We'll close the doors 15 seconds before then. So about 30 seconds to close the doors, press our departure, and then see ourselves out. Reduce the braking to its minimum position. That way it's nice and speed departure once we get the green signal. Close doors. Whoops, just going past that lady there. Right, let's see what happens now. So we've hit our scheduled departure time. Signal goes green, up to 100. Let's get going, shall we? get to about 60. I'm going to reduce the throttle input to about 2. That way, once we enter the main line, speed increases to 5 again. It's just a smooth transition rather than accelerating to 100, stopping, and then restarting again. So we've entered the main line with last carriage to enter. There we go. Back to 4, and back up to 4 speed. Stop at Ebbsfleet in about 16 miles. Again, so far so good from the train. Or about 2 or 3 minutes even, will then exit the tunnel portion, go alongside the Chatham Main Line, which will be to our left, cross over to its right hand side, and then continue on with the rest of our surface journey. Ebbsfleet, by the way, not within the London M25 boundary. Ebbsfleet's just outside of it to its east by a couple of miles, but London Pancras and Stratford are both within London, both in the M25 boundary, and both count as London stations. Ebbsfleet, while on the Oyster card system, isn't a London station, so you can tap in and out if you need to, but you do pay the special fare, the expensive ticket for the journey to that. Approaching 200 km per hour. It's about 120 miles per hour. To about 140 miles per hour. So at this point, we're travelling faster, than any other UK train. 130 now compared to 125 of both the West Coast Main Line, West Coast Main Line, East Coast Main Line, and Great Western Main Lines. All three travel at the 125 allocated speed limit. Technically, the Class 43, the HST, could do much faster than 125, but it's widely believed that the top speed of the train was limited for the APT, the Advanced Passenger Train, which should have gone faster. But due to a plethora of issues, never came to fruition. But during testing runs, they say they managed to get trains up to about 138 miles per hour, and could have gone faster had they not limited the tests. Fun little facts for you there. So the tunnel's now coming to an end. Lights just begin the tunnel. It's a steep outcline this again. It goes up to about 2.2 now. Stabilises at 2.2. Should dies out again as we reach top of the climb. 3. Back down to level on the ground. Continue onwards to Ebbsfleet again. Track does straighten out quite nicely. Track does get a lot more level. Try not to go too fast. We can easily push 230 here. A little bit more than that if we need to as well, but try not to go too fast today. Okay, by changing power at Ebbsfleet rather than what did the LGV Motorino, which is doing at speed, it's a lot easier, a lot easier to try and manage. Also, the changeover here is on this train, on this unit, is a lot easier by pressing 2 buttons, rather than in the TGV duplex. You had to cut the circuit breaker, set the train mode, set the pantograph, set train mode, raise the pantograph, reset it. There's 5, 6 different steps you've got to do here. On here, it's push on the button you want, push on the system you want, so DC or AC, and then press the circuit breaker. It's a lot quicker, a lot easier. 226 now, so we'll cut the power to off. Now train to coast for the next couple of minutes. Again, if we need to get the train going a bit, just hit the power handle on 1, which is a very nice intermediary throttle setting for this bit of the journey. To cross over with the local lines. Just under 5 miles to go now to Ebbsfleet. No timing for it, because again, well, we're an extra service not on timetable schedule, and therefore in terms of our own route timing, a little bit more freedom in regards to when we need to go. But on a normal timetable route, normal schedule route, it's about 5 minutes from St Pancras to Stratford, and then 15 minutes from Stratford to Ebbsfleet, so you can hold around about 20 minutes. Plus, of course, the time it is to stop at each station on the way. 225 flashing, that means down to 200 now. Oh, the brake 1 as we are on a downhill portion of track. Well, brake 25%, 26%. Bring that back a bit. Minimum braking, 200 flashing, that's down to 160. Back. $160 flashing, down to 130. Over there actually, so don't go too slow. But as long as we're above 100, that will just fine at this point. 130 stable, exiting tunnel will then change away from the Eurostar and Dover priority lines. And then like we did last time, we'll be on the raised platforms on the Chatham line, Dover Priory and Eurostar, take the southerly branch. To 70. Clear the AWS. Now running wrong rail to the end of the platform, where I believe we'll then change ends and take a train back to St Pancras, and that forms the end of the shuttle. So right at the end of the platform, currently a red signal stopping us. And slowly bring the train now to a halt. Right. Unlock doors, change ends, and begin the return service back to London St Pancras. So we're going to have to shut down this cab, switch the other end, and then prepare that for departure. Let's go through these steps, shall we? Turn lights off, set the reverser to neutral, set the DRA to on, reverser now goes off, master key comes off. We'll now change ends, so leave this cab, we've turned the lights off as well, should now be on tails. We were a light jog now to the end of platform 5. This train departs at 9:22, so we've got 2 minutes. 2 minutes change ends, set train up, and get ourselves ready to go. 26 hard sets, so it's not a long sprint this. And the main setup's like a 2-3 second job anyway, so it's not a difficult train to operate to 395. Take seats. Set the master key to on. Set the reverser to neutral. Push and hold the channel to a rolling button for 2 seconds. Press the pen up, choose down button. Press it again to close the MCB. Now wait until 22:30. The train departs. I'm trying to think. With the master key off, the alerters should not activate in the rear cab. But I do remember. Well, I do realise about the AWS and alert systems on the rear cab. But like I said, I don't think that's going to cause any problems for us. We shouldn't have any random brake application. Right, so now wait for departure. That'll be in approximately 45 seconds. See, one collectible that's within reach of the train, so we can go do that. And also newspapers. Stick the metro in the holders. Right, there we go. Let's have a look around trains. It's got a first aid kit down below here. You've got a little manual holding there. A few extinguishers. Circuit breakers down below. There's not a bad little train there. Got the third rail isolation stick. And somewhere here as well should be a ladder, which I believe will be behind this closed door. Although actually, maybe not, because there's no way to exit train through the front cab. So passengers park for another way. Switch the lights on, close the doors, and let's get ourselves ready to depart. Train forward. Set DRA. And high power. We are stopping in at Chatham International. Stop there at 9:34. And then short up from Stratford to Pancras, where the train will terminate. So we're at 9:34. The other train was departing at 9:08, if I recall correctly. And I don't think there was a train behind that one either, so... Well, no train behind it, because we would have seen them pass, which there wasn't, so... Should be smooth sailing now to the end of the line. See a train crossing over the top there. That is a local train, class 375. That will likely be heading to London Victoria from this portion here. Up to 1:30, handle off. Enter tunnel, and then start to steer against 225. There we go. So now just doing the return journey what we did earlier. Make sure the cab lights or reading lights is on. Just doing the return journey what we did earlier. Also, I've realised I've now left the the read light on the other cab as well. Whoops. Shouldn't cause too many problems. That's a simple run. Stop at Stratford in 15 miles. It's 5 miles between Stratford and St Pancras. Some nice calm ends at the end of the line. But like I say, so far I'm absolutely adoring the Southeastern High Speed routes. The services, the trains, so far so good. As soon as the Class 465 gets here, I think that pretty much finalises and perfects everything with the high speed run so far. In fact, I can't wait for the network to get here. Just adore the train. I don't know why, what I like about it. I think it's just Actually, I don't even know why. It's just something about it. Instead of a gangway at the front, you've got the bulgy, rounded front, the nose. And I've also got Hornby set the class 45 in Southeastern colours. I don't know, I've just always adored the networkers. It might even just be because, well, my local line uses, well, at least used to use a lot of networkers, now it's more turbo stars. But, and electric stars actually as well. Makes some electric stars on my second nearest line, but I think my first mainline experiences would have been on the networkers, and it's just kind of become the train that I remember since then. About 8 minutes now. 8 minutes travelled, 11 miles between here and Stratford. Very shortly we'll be back in the tunnels. And then could be a short hop between here and Stratford and St Pancras. So we're passing over the Thames Valley now. Thames Estuary will be somewhere just to our left. Behind the trees, maybe 2 or 3 miles away. But that's where the River Thames really starts to open wide. It's the English Channel. And also a lot of shipping, a lot of cargo traffic. Moving out of London. You have Dover, which is the main Calais. Sorry, you have Dover, which is the main port, which connects to Calais in France. But you also get a few local lines and local delivery centres and barges that do come up the Thames Estuary as well for a few short stops closer to the city centre. And then that all gets linked through the A12 into M25 and into London itself. Also going to have Ashford International as well somewhere, although that's on the Dover line rather than Ebbsfleet. Well, you have Ebbsfleet International where it kind of splits, and then you have Ashford International, which is a bit further down on the Dover Priory line, which continues on to Dover and Channel Tunnel. And then also you've got the car station as well, where lorries and cars can also then join onto the Channel Tunnel and take train through that. Cut the power now, it's going a little bit on the far side. The trains are cutting, and from the cutting down into the tunnels. Again, quite a steep down a bit of track here. Do expect speeds to slowly start increasing. We're a little below the 225 limit, so I can leave it to its own natural increase. And as momentum builds up, put a little brake in just in case it goes a bit too much. But we've got a little bit of leeway from 225 up to 230, which is then when the warning system starts to kick in. But going the return journey from Ebbsfleet to St Pancras, I'd say, is a much easier journey, just because there's a lot less you're having to input the controls. The train's doing a very good job at managing that on its own. About 5 miles to go now. 5 miles to Stratford International. Them just to increase up to 225 again. 225 flashing down to 200. Flashing down to 160. Flashing down to 130, or even down to 100 at this point. Locked in, so yeah, down to 100 now. You know these systems that if you are on a 100 speed lock, then the train is going to come to a stop. So, at station red signal, if it stops at 130, it means you're carrying at reduced speed. Down to 100, almost certainly means you're coming to a stop. And having the in-cab signal as well, it's just a nice way to kind of slowly trickle you down into the lower speeds. Flashing means slow down, solid means that you speed up. Very helpful in a high-speed network when you don't always quite get to see the line side speed signs. So 100 flashing, that means prepare to stop. Now going to leave the tunnel outside of Stratford. Hold it around 70. And then slowly induce braking as we enter the platform. Stratford here, by the way, used to be a plague pit. So back during the Great Plague of not 1665, but the previous one, 1480s I think it was, maybe better than that. Stratford is where they dug a big pit and buried a lot of the dead who were killed during the Black Death. And well, during excavation, they found the old graves. They relocated the what was left of the remains into a new gravesite. And yeah, the station was, well, the plague pit was turned into a train station. You then had the Black Death of 1665, which was not quite as wide scale, but certainly killed a lot of people. Although that very much ended next year in 1666 with the Great Fire of London. So a lot of people, well, a lot of the rats, a lot of the hit too much brakes there. A lot of people were either burnt or rats were killed, everything was killed, and basically the Great Fire of London completely reset the city of London itself. What happened is, so I hit the emergency brakes, which is what happens when you hit the brakes miles controller into the maximum forward position. To switch it off, basically hold the brakes again for a couple of seconds and then release it. So, unlike a lot of local trains where if you hit the emergency brakes, the train comes to a halt regardless, in a train like this which goes through lots of tunnels, especially in the Channel Tunnel, in case of Eurostar, if you need to reset the emergency brakes because either it's a false alarm or you've gone a bit too far, then you just apply the brakes again and release it, and that cuts the brakes. So that is also simulated in Train Sim World Class Grand 5. A small little detail that I do quite like, again, small details that Delta have implemented, which do give you the full illusion driving the realistic train. I've got this track here, I'm actually not quite sure where exactly this one goes to. I believe it does connect with the main Stratford station a separate track away. But this one does descend through the station here at Stratford and does travel into the main track all the way to International. It's a Pancras. These days, only the two centre platforms really used at Stratford. The outer platforms were very busy, but only back during the Olympic Games when the station was built. So this station is just outside of the Olympic Stadium, and as a result, they built the facilities for it, which is why, for example, the train's known as the Javelin, the Class 5 Javelin, an event in the Olympics, and a lot of the trains are also named after, or at least used to be named after their British Olympic athletes. And then you've also got a single train, class, well, 395012, which also comes in the Trainbow colours. So, here in the UK, I'm not sure if it's much, well, not really much of an international thing, but here in the UK, to celebrate gay pride and LGBTQ+, train operating companies have certain trains which have got, well, we call it the Trainbow, which is a rainbow train. And so, the Javelin 305 was the first train to actually receive Trainbow colours. Southeastern was the first train operating company to do it back in 2012, I think it was, maybe a bit later than that. But these days, I think most, if not all, TOCs now have got some form of a Trainbow. But Train Rainbow Trainbow is celebrating, well, equality in LGBTQ. Plus. Right, next station is St Pancras International. Again, no set time for arrival since we are an extra out of timetable service. And therefore, when we arrive is when we arrive, kind of thing. Up to 225. You need to remember that there is quite a bit of a slowdown as we exit tunnels here. You need to be prepared for that. Down to 200 km per hour, about 2 miles. It's a bit of a mix, you know, they're both kilometres an hour and miles as a measure of distance. Because you're on a UK network and therefore running in miles, but on French track and French signalling, which run in kilometres per hour. By having the digital speedometer in the middle, just allows the system to easily switch between the two. Down to 225. Actually, we're already 160 right now, nowhere near it. Solid, therefore lock it at 200 for the next short bit of track. Flashing down to 160. .60 flashing down to 130. Flashing even, therefore prepare train to slow. So yeah, down to 80. Very shortly, exit tunnel. Do remember that the section between now and Pancreas International is very, well, it's not a very level bit of track. There's a lot of climbing and descending. Therefore, keep a very strong hold on the brakes and throttle here, just ensure the train doesn't go too fast, doesn't go too slow. Give ourselves a timely arrival into the station. Solid. With the vigilance. A little bit of power as we start slowing down. And you can just see the exit now tunnel right up ahead. .7 miles to go. Nice and slow approach. Down to 60 very shortly. We'll leave the train to coast naturally down to 60. 40 if you go on the crossing on the right hand side. to yellow, down to single, and then down to red when we stop. Reduce speed to 40 kilometers per hour. The track on the right, by the way, that's part of the Midland Main Line. So East Midland trains operate on this in Voyagers and some HST trains, and they operate up the Midland Main Line up towards Birmingham. Birmingham East Midlands. Okay, the warnings. Continue to slow down. Enter the platform about 40, and hold it towards the end of the station here. Yes, your Midland Main Line. You have the Eurostar here, and also got the Thameslink services, which are currently underground, and follow the Midland Main Line exit the tunnel portal about half a mile just behind us. And about half a mile in front of us, you have the London Underground tracks, you have the Metropolitan Line, Metropolitan Line, Circle Line, not District, sorry. You have Northern Line, Victoria Line, and that all changes at the London Underground station, like I said, about half a mile in front of us. Nice and slow arrival, right to the buffers, and then bring train to a halt. Perfect. Unlock doors, and let's let passengers disembark. Lights come off. We will set the DRI, train into neutral. In fact, for us, it comes off at this point, and that brings us to the end of our line. Okay, back to neutral. To maximum braking. And then to off. Again, gotta follow the scenario marker. Don't do things too early. Thank you for completing this run. Let's see how you did. Now, once again, our Class 5 Javelin at the end of the run. And this awkwardly long scenario marker. There we go. Right, Stratford, Ebbsfleet, Stratford, and Pancras all stopped within 2 yards of the stop marker. Everything, in fact, was only about half a yard at the end there. In terms of arrival time as well, so we arrived a minute early at Stratford, we arrived 2 minutes early at Stratford, the return journey, so therefore I can be pretty happy with the timing for both St Pancras and Ebbsfleet. Level 58 on the character, level 7, 42 minutes driven, 45 miles driven, and 182 yards walked. And that gives us 9,000 awareness points and another gold medal for the Southeastern High Speed. So again, nice little scenario service stats. You have a return journey, you have to reset train both ends. Once again, just in case of holding speeds up. Otherwise, yeah, pretty much a standard high speed run that. So, that was Stopping Shuttle. That was the 3rd mission in Train Squad High Speed Southeastern. Next, we have Tricky Tunnels coming up. That'll be tomorrow's video. Otherwise, thank you all very much for watching. You take care of yourselves. And I shall see you in the very near future. Have a good one, and goodbye.